Hey, thanks for joining the Forging the Future Snelling podcast. My name is Bennett, and my guest today is Joanna Schwenning, who is the operations
Very good.
MicroPlex. Thanks so much for joining the call today.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, I'll jump right into it. Joanna, can you tell our audience a little bit about MicroPlex?
So we are a contract manufacturer of custom cables and harnesses. We're in North Canton, Ohio. We service industries like military, medical, robotics, anything like that. And we build to order. So we're not building anything unless somebody asks us to. And it's interesting, some of our stuff, I know people think this all the time, like, you don't think about cables at all. You think about like what you plug into the wall. We don't do anything like that. We actually do cables that make things go. I always think your lottery machine, think something holding cars or dropping things down into military sites. We're
Right.
building those kinds of cables. So we build really tiny ones, build huge ones, something different every day.
Okay, sounds super interesting. Well, I understand you've been at MicroPlex for some time
Yes.
and you've kind of had an interesting trajectory. Can you describe what drew you into the company originally and what's kept you there for so long?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not as interesting as it seems because I went from being an English major into purchasing and then operations. The fact of the matter was, I went back to school extremely late. I had two small children, and English was the quickest way to get my degree. And that was at a time when that was extremely valuable for any job that you were getting.
Sure.
And then I come from a business background. So while it might seem unconventional, it's not. My family owned businesses from when I was growing up. So I understand operations, customer service, problem solving,
Yeah.
how to run a company in the day to day. Gave me a really good foundation for this. So I know while it seems a little bit strange, it's really straightforward. So,
Sure. Well, I could see where, like you said, an English degree is going to help you in any field
yes.
possible.
Yes.
Did you jump right into operations or did you kind of work your way up through the company?
So yeah, when we're a small company, less than 50 people, and I came in purchasing, and I'd actually never done anything like that before. My parents owned a pizza shop actually, so very small business. You called on the phone, you were like, "Hey, I need 10 things of cheese and 5
Yeah,
things of sauce," and I mean it was very different than what we're ordering now. I mean, there's a whole lingo that goes in manufacturing that you don't get in the restaurant business. So I was purchasing right away and, creating purchase orders. We didn't do that, none of that. So yeah, I went into purchasing and then we started to grow. We were extremely small when I first started here.
right.
We started to grow, and you can see things when you're starting to grow. When you're that small a business, you just rely on your people to build what they're supposed to build. They can read the prints, they can look at what they need to build it, they can grab it off the shelf, they can go pull their own wire, and as you start to grow, you have to put in more parameters and more order, I guess. And I am very orderly that way. So when I moved into operations, it was because I could see that need for there to be that link between production in the back and what was going on in the front, and I thought I could actually help with that. So that's how I ended up in operations.
It sounds like it's a good place for you and you've got a brain for that kind of work naturally. So I'm glad you've gotten to land in a position that works for you like that. Well, I can't help but ask, you said your family comes from pizza. What is your favorite kind of pizza?
I mean, they just, it's kind of interesting actually. My dad was an air traffic controller during the Reagan administration, so he lost his job, he was 40 something. And so my parents bought this local pizza shop, and then they had a few by the time they retired. So I grew up in that. I was in 3rd grade when they started, and it was a lot of fun. I like a very basic pizza.
Okay, yeah, no frills, just
Nothing to it. Like I want cheese sauce, pepperoni, sausage, mushrooms, very basic.
okay, yeah, no, I like it. I feel like sometimes when you become enlightened in a certain subject, the more simple stuff is more attractive.
Absolutely. People always ask if I can make pizza at home, and I always say, like, not unless I'm creating, enough for 40 pizzas.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, you get used to that. That's me. I used to be in food service, and my first few months in a job cutting chicken tenders, and now I could fly up a chicken faster than anything else, but I'm a terrible cook otherwise.
That's funny. We used to do chicken as well, and I always remember having to, like, gut the thighs, and I was I was really they had all of us young kids doing that. Like, we were just like, "Okay, we're doing it."
Yeah, it definitely put me off chicken for a little while, but I've
I know, right?
he's back.
But no, I could eat pizza every day.
And I could talk to you about it this whole time, to be
I
honest.
know, right?
I'm gonna I will have to unfortunately move on, and I'll
I
ask
know.
that you work in this small company. What do you
Yes.
like about it? How is it working in a small operation? Have you ever been in a larger company to compare?
I've never worked for a massive company. Very briefly, like between just at the end of my college years, I worked for a larger company. It's not for me. People should know themselves well enough to know whether or not they can do that kind of work. I have a friend who always says she just wants to be a schmo in a cubicle. And I think that's perfect. Like some people really want that. They just want to go in and they just want to do their work and go home. And I'm not like that. So a small company is a really big fit for me because I feel like I matter and I feel like I make a difference. And that's kind of projected out onto the people that work here. They also matter. And they make a difference as well. So for me it was a good fit. Also, I like to go home at 4 o'clock. You're actually gonna keep me a little over maybe today, and I'm a little
Oh,
sad
good.
about that. I like to go home at 4. I'm a morning person, so I like being able to walk out at 4. You can't do that at a lot of big businesses.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. We all are able to, work our schedule a little bit uniquely. I like to be able to go to yoga in the morning. That's always really nice. And then come into work. So I like that too. I like having those options. I'm not just somebody in a cubicle that has to punch a clock, and that's very nice. Those kinds of things are really important to me. Small businesses, you're able to do that. My boss allows that. So I've been able to allow that as well with people that work here. And I always think we're a women-owned company, and we're also women-ran, so there is a lot of moms here, and I
Yeah.
always think, like, how nice that we can like, if they have to go do something and leave work, we never make that stressful. We're just like, "Go do what you have to do." Like, why would I add stress to that because your air conditioner went out or your heater went out? Like, that's already super stressful. Like, our team knows, like, I'm gonna go handle my shit. Like, I gotta go do it, you know? And I like that. I like that about a small company. That's really important.
Yeah, I bet that's really attractive to candidates when you do start hiring, when y'all do hire. On the flip side, what's some of the bigger challenges? I'm sure competing with larger companies can be difficult.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's really hard to compete with larger companies just because they have that attraction already. We're real close to Timken. I mean, that's a major, Timken is a major player, and, they have manufacturing here, and, you know, their attraction is better. I don't know how their retention is. Our retention is excellent. Even our production, we're at 10.7 is our average right now, 10.7 years. So we're really good at retention because once you get in here, you realize that we actually care about you as a person. And that matters. That was a big shift for some of our supervisors here, that had come from other companies that I'm like, well, how you manage, Susie is far different from how you manage George for a variety of reasons. And that's a hard concept for a lot of people, but in a small business, we can do that. In a large business, not so much. But
Yeah,
the attraction is a little more complicated because you're not going to put that out on, hey, we're going to let you leave when you need to. Like, no, nobody reads that. Like, nobody cares. Like, you can't put that in an ad.
right. Well, I mean, shoot, putting that kind of stuff bright and bold at the beginning can be very attractive to candidates, but it also is something where you're like, yeah, I know a lot of companies that have that flexibility want to ease into the flexibility, test
Yes.
the waters, not
Yeah.
be like gung ho. You can do whatever you want. You can leave
Yeah.
kind of thing right from the start. That can be a little dangerous, but no, that
Yeah, for sure, because you also need people to be reliable. You want to give them flexibility for sure, but you need them to be reliable and you need them to care about their work. You need them to want to be there as well. So putting out that kind of flexibility and that kind of like, hey, we're really good at this kind of peopling, I think that would get taken advantage of pretty easily. Weeding out people would be really hard. I always think about companies that throw out their what do they say? Like unlimited PTO. Well, I mean, we all know that's bullshit. Nobody has unlimited PTO.
yeah, right.
I mean, but they're putting that out there as an attraction, and then people are like shocked when it's not like, oh, I can't go on vacation whenever I want. I can't take off whenever I want. I still have to get approved. Like, what's going on here? So, I mean, you want to get the right candidate first that is reliable and kind and eager to learn and happy to be here. And then they get all the good stuff, that comes with being here.
Definitely. Well, what are some other things that y'all vet for? Is it difficult to vet for your industry, the cable industry?
Yeah, because nobody knows how to do it. Nobody knows what it is. Nobody has any thoughts about the fact that every piece of machine has like little working cables in it, right? We have one customer that they pour the glue on your cereal bags.
Right.
We create the wires for that. Like, nobody's thinking about that. So, stupid things like that. So, yeah, it's really hard to vet. Just like in the questions we talked about, we like people that wanna work with their hands. So, crafters, people that already like tinkering, and that's the right word, actually. And so we do in the interview have to ask, whether or not they have hobbies like that. Sometimes that's really important, so they're used to it and they like it, um, and they have to like it. I don't like to work with my hands. I would not be able to sew or knit or,
Sure.
I'm not like that, so, I mean, I would get out there and be like, "Oh my god, this is terrible." But I would you don't want that, so, better to get people that actually like to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I can see where it'd be important to vet that kind of thing, like the mindset once again. Just kind of like what I was mentioning about your having a aptitude for operations and organization and landing in a job like that. You get that kind of long-term tenure is by making sure somebody is going to be happy with the day-to-day work.
Yes.
It's too bad that that doesn't happen more often, where people can land in something that they really get fulfilled by.
I mean, even that comes and goes in waves, right? Like, I mean, we recently partnered with the Navy Talent Pipeline Program, which is super interesting. They're out there trying to bolster manufacturing because we don't have enough submarines,
Right.
plain and simple, like super easy, plain and simple. We don't make enough. We make one submarine every couple of years. Our competitors overseas are making making one every 6 weeks or something like that. So, like the bolstering of manufacturing is a big deal right now. So, one of the things that they have brought into our group with partnering with them is this thing called the fifth metric. And we're actually very new into this, and we're starting to move into this fifth metric. And basically, all of your people, all of your leaders get together and you basically rate whether somebody is engaged or disengaged, right? So we call it, are they moving forward? Are they in neutral? Or are they in reverse? So that's how we're going through it. And we kind of basically rate everybody. Like, are you moving forward? Like, are you engaged in your job? Do you like what you're doing? Are you thinking of ideas? Do you want to learn new stuff? Or are you just coming in neutral? Man, I like what I do, but I'm here for my paycheck. And those people are important as well. Or are you in reverse? Do you hate it? Are you having a hard time? One of the things here that is really important in our culture, I don't like a whole lot of gossip. And it's really can be very complicated in a small business or a large business for that matter. But that gossip piece can be really difficult. We find that people that get kind of in reverse start to talk about things, talk about people, and they have that negative connotation all the time. So trying to get them, the whole point of the fifth metric is to try and help your leaders manage their employees so that they stay out of reverse as much as possible. You're going to always kind of bounce back and forth from drive to neutral, right? Like, nobody can be engaged all the time. It's impossible,
Okay.
but to keep them kind of out of reverse is really important. And they call it the fifth metric because there's already four other metrics, right? Like, people do what, safety, quality, cost, and production. And this is the fifth one. It's like, how are your people feeling?
Yeah.
So, super good fit for us because we already are into that. We're already like, each person is their own individual, like every person is their own person. But
Right.
yeah, so that's been really helpful actually. Their big thing is to help you attract and then retain. And that's their whole goal, is to come in and teach companies how to attract and retain. And the fifth metric is a piece of that. So just super
Yeah.
interesting information.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to look into that because as a recruiter working with clients on the hiring side all the time, I would love to be able to add one more thing that I can offer to clients I'm working with. That's really interesting, Joanna. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, so you mentioned already that MicroPlex treats employees as individuals with unique
Yes.
needs, and then you go through the fifth metric a little bit. What does it look like in practice? Well, is there anything you'd be willing to share about like specific techniques, or common ways that you can get people from reverse into neutral or neutral into, I'm sorry, did you say it was
Yeah.
for?
Drive, like, forward. Yeah. We're super new at this, and we've started to really look at, like, where our people are. And we're a smaller company that already tries to engage, so we have a lot of people that are already in neutral and drive. Very few people in reverse right now. But I'll tell you, I find it to be so simple most of the time. It's a little bit of one-on-one time with, "Hey, how you doing? What's going on?" And then you start to actually just be bold about it, like, "I can see that this is happening lately," or, "I know that this is happening lately." One of the other things we always try to do is, simultaneously, we actually brought in an HR consultant, as small as we are, and she does a lot of leadership training with us. Handling things as they happen is really important so that things don't get out of hand, because that matters immensely in this kind of work. I find that engaging people is more about just, I'm gonna say it like treating them like a person. Hey, how's it going? Like they have numbers, but they're not numbers. Does that
Yeah,
make,
absolutely. Yeah,
so?
I think, a lot of employers understandably get wrapped up in everything being down to the dollar and,
Yep, absolutely. KPIs are important.
and they are,
Yeah,
how business operates, but
absolutely.
and is a great cost saver for one thing. And I would like it to be more from the basis of like, people being fulfilled in their work and that kind of thing and being in drive, like you said. But like,
Yes.
yeah, from a management perspective, it's very important to get buy-in from your employees. And
Yes.
y'all are really attacking this from a really great angle.
Yeah.
Shifting gears here a little bit, I know that you mentioned a little bit about this, the manufacturing trades, welding, machining, all that
Mhm.
decline. And from your perspective, Joanna, what needs to change to rebuild that pipeline of skilled workers?
I mean, that has to be buy-in from the top on
Yeah,
perception of trades being a respectful job. Like, I that's super like, that I probably don't wanna jump into, like, politics, but there was a time, I think when from the top down, politically speaking, it became that education was the most important thing. People needed to be educated, they had to be educated, and I actually think that came during, what, end of World War II maybe, where they gave that big push for for education being like a big, big thing. And then I think about, like, as I was growing up, like, you had to get an education. Like, when I was in high school, I mean, everybody was in college prep courses, and the only people that weren't in college prep courses that were in, like, shop classes were the kids that couldn't cut it in college prep. So, I mean, like, how did that perception, when did that shift that, like, "Oh, only the stupid people are not going to college," And that's a terrible perception for us, and we're like, ultimately, we talked about this, we're paying the price for that because manufacturing is on such a wane, and it needs to be bolstered just to, like, survive, not just even thrive. But, here we are, like I said, we can't even build a submarine in a year's time. And and that's a problem. So, yeah, I think that we have a PR problem. People think that you know, it's not a, I don't even say respectful, but you have to go to college. Smart people go to college. If you wanna have a good life, you go to college. Oh, and I mean, think about even the student loans, like, that became a thing back in that time period where, and that's big business, right? Like, you
right.
know, and then college's tuition started going crazy, but they were still like, "Go to college, you have to go to college. If you want the American dream, you have to go to college." And that's highly problematic for sure because, like, I know my kids and they went to high school, they didn't even have welding anymore. They don't even have that at the school my kids went to, but they have a huge performing arts program. And, huge performing arts, and a lot of those kids went to college for that. Welders kicking their ass on pay right now, I'm sure of it.
Absolutely.
So I think it's a PR problem, it's a perception problem. That's it, I mean, it's all over. I don't even, probably not even just in the US, but it's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. You're mentioning that it's a PR problem. That's a great way to put it. It's a marketing issue, it's a public
Yes.
perception issue. And I think with these public perception things, it has a tendency to kind of rock back and forth where it's like,
Yeah.
get way too far into that what you're mentioning of like, you have to be this to
Yes.
be successful, you have to go to school. And I think it's swaying back. I wouldn't pretend to know what like high schoolers and adults are thinking right now, but I want to say that I've seen things recently where people are really bolstering that we need more engineers, we need more welders, we need more machinists and things like that. I'm hoping that that perception is coming not just for on my social medias, but
I
like
know, right?
for young adults and things like that because it's also it can be very fulfilling. And if managers can attack things like y'all have, treating people as individuals, looking for growth opportunities. I think it's as good a job as any, and it can be really great. So I think that was really interesting. I got one more question for you, Joanna.
Okay.
One, if is there any one message you would hope other small manufacturing leaders would take away from this conversation?
It's really important that you can wear multiple hats and do multiple things and not kind of be like, well, that's not what I was hired for. That kind of stuff is really important that you are open to doing different things and having different things go on in your day and being able to manage that. That can be really difficult when you talk about time management. I think valuing human qualities in a human is super important. Just because somebody is not good at this or doesn't quite do well with this person, they'll thrive better if you try to figure that out with them, not for them, but with them.
Mhm.
So, creating a culture that balances that kind of meaningful work, personal life, opportunities for growth. I think that's probably what really I would want my leaders to take away um, when they're looking at new hires and new employees. Oh, and trust. Oh my gosh.
Trust.
Yeah, trust. And trusting that your employees are going to do the right thing. Making sure that you're acting with integrity so that they trust that you're doing the right thing. That'll go a long way as a leader, when you're trying to lead people.
Hey, well, I think that's a perfect place to near our end here, Joanna. I so appreciate your conversation today. Are there any social medias or anything you'd want to plug or website links people could visit?
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely go into www.microplex-inc.com. Check out our website here. That's it.
Awesome. We'll make sure that that's in the description for any posts and things like that. And thank you so much for joining. I'll go ahead and bring our conversation to a close and have a great rest of your day.
Okay, thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
Alrighty.